spot on the wall to stare at, and then try to put their feet both flat on the ground so they're not like moving back and forth, which can change your view. And then, communicate with your model. If you get to their mouth and they're like chewing gum, you may say, hey, can you not move your mouth for a minute or whatever. But set the timer. Again, try not to, if your model's staring at you, just ask them to look away. But you're going to have to set a timer. I'm not going to draw for the whole, 15 minutes or whatever. I'm just going to kind of show you how to start. But you want to I would try to keep it life size or larger and start out with a sketch. So I've kind of got a little bit of a 3/4 view here because his head is facing my right a little bit. So I'm going to start out with the willow charcoal. And this is just for the underlying gesture. So this is not like the jawline or anything. It's just to kind of get the general shape of the head. And then I'm going to mark kind of the eye line in the center. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to not look at your model and just try to draw what I showed you last time, because now we have an actual model. You want to try to work from that model and draw what you see. So then I'm going to draw about halfway there for about where the nose should be, the mouth. Since his head is turned slightly to my right, that center axis is going to be more like this instead of straight down the middle. So you want to be able to account for that in the drawing. So then I always start with the eyes, because I think that once you get the eyes drawn, then everything else you can kind of measure and use like your tools to find where everything lines up if their face is slightly different than those ideal proportions that we talked about last week. So try to look that way. Thank you. And so I usually just keep it really loose for the first few minutes. Remember those measurements with the eyes. Since he's looking this way, I don't have as much space on this side, but I do want to try to keep that width the same across the eye line. And then I'm just going to loosely put in everything else. And if you want to get better at this, what you have to do is just draw more and more people. One summer when I was in high school, the church that my family was going to at the time, they were doing this summer school or the summer camp for underprivileged kids, and I got asked if I would go be like the art director at it. And the first day they didn't really have a lot of supplies to work with, but the first day this kid walked up to me and was like, "Hey, will you draw me? Can you draw people?" And I was like, "Yeah, we draw people in my high school class." And so I started drawing him, and the next thing you know, there was like a line of like 200 kids wanting me to draw them, and I ended up drawing, I think, all the kids at the school, and then they were all mailing me pictures of their younger siblings over the next year to draw them. So the more practice that you get, the better that you will get at this. Okay. So just keep it really loose. I'm still just working with the willow charcoal. Check your measurements too. As you can kind of use your charcoal to kind of measure and then see, how wide everything is and where it goes. You can also kind of block in shadows that you may see. And remember, the willow charcoal is not permanent. So this you can kind of smudge into the paper to kind of just be a guideline of where things where will go. Okay, so I think I have everything about in the right location. And so now I'm going to start using my charcoal pencil. I like to do that to just kind of commit to the areas that I think are accurate before I start erasing too much. And my dog's in here too, so she's being a little distracting. This charcoal pencil's not writing. So try to keep it, really loose until I don't know how long it's been, probably less than 5 minutes. For the model, it's always going to seem way longer because they're having to sit still. But for the artist, it's always going to seem like it goes by super fast. Okay. So if you keep it really loose when you're working, then whenever, if your time runs out, at least you'll have treated like the whole area the same. But if you just focus on one thing and you don't ever really move past that, you're not going to have a finished portrait. So think of like if you've seen people getting like caricatures done at the mall or at ballparks or amusement parks. Think of how fast those people are drawing and because they have to, the faster they do it, the more money they can make, right? And if you get good at this, you may find some money once, you may even be able to do it online right now. I know I had students before that when we were doing this in class, I would have the door open and people from the hall will walk in and be like, "Oh, that's cool," and can you draw me and my girlfriend or whatever? And I've had students like actually do it and make money from other classmates at the school. And just remember the charcoal is very forgiving. So if you make a mistake, you can always correct it. Lighting may be something you want to also consider if you're able to control it at your home. I usually like to have light on one side of the face, so I do get kind of some cast shadows. So I have like a window right here, and I don't have any other lights on. And of course, you can clean it up some afterwards, but usually, like in the figure drawing class, you're not going to be allowed to take photos. So that's usually frowned upon, especially when the model is not wearing clothes. And I'm going to switch to a stick of the compressed charcoal now that I'm working on more of the hair. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the little chat feature. You can just ask while I'm working. And you don't have to draw anything below the shoulders, but I always like to kind of give a little indication of the neck and maybe like the shirt and the shoulders so it just doesn't look like a floating head. And I think I got this part too. My table's like right here, so it's kind of hard to reach all the way over here. And I do see a little bit of the ear here. Okay, so I don't want to make you guys watch too much more, but this would be a good start. It's probably been maybe 5, 10 minutes now. So what I would do now to finish it up is just to start going back with my erasers and cleaning up anywhere that there's highlights or shadows using my charcoal pencil to add any darker details and just refining like the edge of the jaw, making it softer and kind of reshaping some things. I think I need to make the chin a little bit bigger. I'm kind of struggling because it's hard to reach this side, so it looks a little um, off center from this, but I don't know if you guys can see all of it. And then I would probably add some more texture into the hair. I think I could also make the forehead a little bit bigger. So part of drawing, as we talked about in class, is getting something down and then refining it. So that's what you would want to do with the little bit of time that you have left over, is just looking at everything closer and putting in whatever details you have. So that's why I tried to get you guys to draw really fast at the beginning, is because whenever you have more time, I think this eye is a little too slanted, so I need to reshape that. But that's why I tried to make you draw